The war in Ukraine gave rise to an important point for which, to a large extent, Putin began to be called a bloodthirsty killer. This concerns the occupation of the city of Bucha near Kiev. After Russian forces withdrew from this settlement during the negotiations in Istanbul, its name echoed around the world and became a household term. Russia was accused of horrific crimes against Bucha civilians, especially the execution in the streets of people kneeling with their hands tied, whose bodies, according to satellite images, lay on the streets for almost 2 weeks. There is much that can be said about both sides' positions, since Russia still considers the footage from the city a provocation and a staged event, while Ukraine largely turned the city into a symbol of Russian aggression, which supposedly makes surrender impossible. I will highlight what I personally consider important. First, the crime against Bucha civilian population lies in the absence of a full and mandatory evacuation of the city by the authorities. Let us answer honestly, would a soldier of a country conducting military operations and an occupation deep in enemy territory treat the residents of an occupied city, one that saw heavy fighting, without suspicion and as if they were family? Yet numerous similar actions by Ukraine in comparable situations suggest that this is a pattern, not a mistake. It is strange and seemingly contradictory that Russian troops simultaneously set up mass graves in the city and left bodies lying in the street, given that after March 20 the air temperature was mostly above 10 degrees Celsius, reaching up to +16. That is, Russian servicemen voluntarily remained in a place with the stench of decomposing bodies. The lists of the dead have still not been published, and they were essentially refused to the main UN representative. As evidence that those who died were civilians, only the absence of uniforms and weapons is cited. Yes, of course, scouts and saboteurs must necessarily wear dress uniforms. Naturally, the central point in the entire Bucha story became the breakdown of peace negotiations, and after admissions by high-ranking Ukrainian officials that the British Prime Minister literally insisted on abandoning the talks, many pieces fall into place for supporters of the Russian version. And now, 3 years later, we see that Ukraine has more than once attempted to use the media space to accuse the opposing side, although it has itself repeatedly been involved in war crimes, the main one being the refusal to continue peace negotiations in favor of its partners.